Hey guys, this is NitroBex. I've had a lot of questions lately on how to build drippers. There's a dripper. Let's get to building. Okay, things you're going to need. A mod. I like using a 510 atomizer seat to help me stabilize my work area. A lighter. Wire. This happens to be 28 gauge Canthal. A screwdriver or an Allen wrench that's compatible with the heads on your atomizer. Fingernail clippers or diagonal cutters. A drill bit. Size doesn't really matter to a point. This one is 3/32. Tweezers or pliers. An ohm checker. Okay. You're also going to need fire. Lots of fire. I'm using a propane torch. Well, let's clean off my work area and we'll get started on this. Okay, so this is an IGO-L. It's one of the more basic drippers. It's got 2 posts with regular screw heads. And there's some wire left in there from my last build. So the first thing you want to do is make sure everything that doesn't need to be in there is out. No leftover cotton, no leftover wire. You probably want to wash it. I use alcohol. I'm going to screw it into the 510 atomizer seat. Now, the 510 atomizer seat makes it a lot easier to work on because you set it on the desk. Okay? So, it's screwed in there. Okay, next thing we're going to need is some Canthal. So I'm going to take my wire. I'm going to snip off a decent sized piece. This is more wire than I'll need, but it'll make it easier for building on camera. Going to take and unscrew your screws enough so you'll be able to catch it under there. Also, it helps to find out if they're standard or reverse thread. If they're standard, it's righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, and you want to wrap clockwise. If it's reverse thread, it's the exact opposite, and you want to wrap counterclockwise. Most threads are standard. Okay, so we're going to take our drill bit, we're going to take our wire, and we're going to start wrapping. Okay, you start by holding the wire perpendicular to the drill bit, and I'm going to do a 5 wrap on this. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, normally I'd say try to get those as close as possible, and you do want to, but I've spaced them out so I can show you how to fix it. Okay, so I'm going to give them a good yank on both legs, and then I'm going to grab my tweezers, take it off the drill bit, and gently start compressing this. You're not trying to win any strength competition here. Gentle pressure to try to make it nice and even. Now you are going to deform it some when you do this, which is okay, because what we're going to do is we're going to put it back on the drill bit, and we're going to yank on those legs to get it nice and tight. And then if you need, you can take it off and compress it more. And if you need, you can take it off and compress it more. But this is a good enough starting point. You're never going to get it all the way compressed without heat. So I'm going to get this ready in my pliers, and I'm going to light my torch. Now, normally I can't show my torch on camera because it's too big. Like, that's what you would see of the torch, but I'm going to light it here and put it on its side. So this should be fun working on a torch that's sideways. Okay, so there's my torch. There's my coil and my my tweezers. I'm going to go ahead and squeeze gently on this, nice and even pressure. I'm not trying to crush it, I'm just trying to hold it together. Right into the heat, right out of the heat. Do not burn yourself while doing this. Other side, right into the heat, right out of the heat. Okay? That's all the more we need. It's not quite holding it together right, so I'm going to hit it one more time. Okay, there we go. Now it's holding together. Let's turn off the torch. Okay, and get that out of our way. So we have a coil that's touching all the way across. Okay, from here, and be careful, your pliers or your tweezers will still be hot at this point. We're going to put that drill bit back in. Okay, if it doesn't want to go in, don't force it, just gently back and forth with your fingers. Okay, and it will go in. Go pull it tight one more time on the drill bit. Okay, so we got it nice and tight. It's in there. Okay, so I've got it off of the drill bit, but we're going to put it back on in a second. We're wrapping these clockwise. So I want this wire, let me get something to point with. I want this wire to be on the outside of the post so I can wrap around this way. This wire to be on the inside between the two posts so I can wrap around that way. And we'll put that on the drill bit and we'll get this thing wrapped. I like to start with the shorter leg and wrap that around the post. Okay. So I've got that wrapped around the post, and now we're going to tighten that down. Okay. So I've got it tightened. Now with our screwdriver, or with our drill bit, we can take and position the coil wherever we want, and then you want to take that excess leg and get it up and out of the way. Okay. So we got our first leg on. Same thing with the other. Take it around. And then screw it down. Alright. And then from here, if I wanted a horizontal, I would twist it. I want a vertical coil on this though, so I'm going to leave it vertical. And take your drill bit out. And get your two legs up and out of the way and make sure your threads are tight. Now if you're going through the center hole on an atomizer post, don't screw too hard on it. You'll wind up cutting your wire. Now we're going to twist off the excess here. Boom. Off it comes. So we got a nice clean built RBA. Off the 510 seat it comes. Now, first thing we're going to do is we're going to check the resistance on this. You always want to check the resistance before ever thinking about putting it on a mod. On we go, 0.92. Right about 1 ohm, right where I was hoping for. Off the test box it comes. Take your last vape. On the mod it goes. Now, if you're looking at my funny drip tip, that's from Anodizer's RI. It's a mood ring drip tip. It changes color as you vape, so it's kind of interesting there. Alright, so we have the coil installed, we have the Addy on a mod. Now we're going to check our coil, and I'm going to start by firing it. We're looking for it to glow red, and we want it to burn from the inside out. So if you notice, when that's lighting, it's lighting from the center of the coil out. Now I do see some uneven spots, which will happen. You take your tweezers, go back in, and just start pinching and poking. Okay? You're just looking for it to evenly glow from the inside out. There we go. So that looks good. Now, we take it off of our mod. We're done with the 510 seat, so that'll go away. Back on the ohm checker. Still 0.92. Now I like to wiggle around the addy and make sure nothing's loose. 0.92, so everything's staying stable. Okay, so we have our built addy with the coil towards you. Now I am going to use cotton to wick this, and I use sterile cotton balls from CVS. Alright, so I'm going to grab a whole brand new cotton ball to show you how to start prepping this. No, I do not boil my cotton. It's sterile. What I do is I sit here and I play with the cotton ball just a little bit. There's going to be a seam in it somewhere. You have to find that seam. So I tug at the edge a little bit till it starts to come apart. Okay, so it's lifting there. I'm going to pull that off. It's going to make like a little loop right there. Now I unroll the whole thing. So I got a nice strip of cotton there. Now, our atomizer's here. I definitely don't want to put all that cotton through there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to tear it down the center. So I got 2 halves of a cotton ball. One of those goes aside. Now I'm going to take that and I'm going to take and pull that about in half again. Okay. So I got about 1/4 of a cotton ball there. Now what I do is I take and just fluff it in my hands into a kind of roundish shape. Okay, so it's kind of round. You're not looking for anything perfect. And then I separate it into 3 segments. I will get 3 separate wicks from these. Okay. So we got one of those segments. Now what I do is I take and twist the end of it and it gets a nice point. But there's always like a little hair on that point. So I fold it over and I twist it again. That makes it so it'll thread through the addy really easy. We're now going to take that through the coil. Now you may need your pliers to pick up, or excuse me, your tweezers, your pliers, whatever you're using to pick up the loose end. I got it there. So you don't want to yank on this. You just want gentle pressure. There should be some resistance, but not a whole lot. And you can smooth out this tail coming out as it feeds through. And I pull until that point I twisted comes off, kind of like that. So that bottom side's good. Okay, the top side we're going to go ahead and take and cut down. So I'm just taking my fingernail clippers, sliding the cotton in there, and snip. Okay. So that's my trick for getting my cotton not too tight, not too loose. Okay, I take my drill bit, and since my air hole is going to be right here, I don't want this big wad of cotton in my way. So what I do is I take and I push that cotton back through the center post. Alright, so it's going to be touching the base of the addy. It'll suck up the juice, but it won't restrict my airflow. From here, you would take it off of the ohm checker, put it on your mod, put juice on it, and fire it up. Never dry fire it with cotton in it. Never do what I'm about to do. This is what will happen if you dry fire it with cotton in it. Okay, my cotton's completely gone. It burns the cotton if you dry fire it with cotton. And you get a lovely smell. My room smells great now. Okay, so one more time on the important part of how to put the cotton in there. Okay, so I got one of those 3 pieces I broke off. I'm going to take and twist the end into a point, fold it over, twist it again, through the addy, through the coil, take my tweezers to grab that tail if needed. I'm going to pull gently but with even pressure till that comes off. Now I do want a little more base than that. Fixing the top as I go if need be. Okay, cut off the excess on the top. Drill bit comes in, or I'll use a screwdriver this time. Push that excess cotton in between your posts so it's out of your airflow. You can even trim up that top more if you want. I have built an addy. Hope this helps, guys. I've had a lot of questions about it lately, so that's how I build the micro coils on my drippers for when I'm reviewing juice. See you next time.